Okay, so we are going to cover now Waterfall versus Agile and how to build MVP. Let's go in detail of this. So basically, in this slide, I'm going to give you a high level difference between Waterfall and Agile incremental delivery. What are the key differences? I'm not going to go too much deep into it, but go keep it high level. I mean, keep it at a level where all of us understand the key differences. Um, so in Waterfall, what used to happen if those of you who are born in early 80s like me, you would have definitely worked on Waterfall, right? And what used to happen in Waterfall method is, if you want to build a product, it will take 6 months to deliver the first, at least 6 months or 8 months to deliver the first release. So what it means is, uh, the the product will the customer will only be able to see the actual product by the end of 6 months. So let's assume from here to here it is the time period is 6 months, right? And it will take, like for the first version of product to be shipped to the customer, it will take 6 months. And what we will do in that 6 months is, first we'll spend 1.5 month in gathering the requirements, like what are the various features and capabilities which we need in this product. So we'll build, gather those requirements from various stakeholder, and we'll create requirement documents. The output of this phase will be basically a requirement document or multiple requirement document, and this phase itself will take almost around 1.5 months. And then these requirement documents will be basically become input for design phase. And the design phase, what the architects will do is, they'll read through these requirement documents and convert them into high level architecture or design, or medium level and low level design. And again, the output of this phase will be again another set of documents, which will be known as design document. It can be architecture document, medium level design document, or low level design document. So those will be the output of this design phase, and it will again take 1.5 month. So we lost 1.5 month from here to here. Then again, we spent another 1.5 month to do the design documents. And then these design documents will become input to the next phase, which is implementation phase. In common software development terminology, you can call this implementation phase as coding phase as well, where the developers will refer to this design documents, and they will code the actual system. And what we'll get by the end of this implementation phase is an unverified system. Our unverified system is basically a system which is already coded, but it has never been tested or verified. Basically, it is the quality assurance principles are not yet applied. So by this time, again, we have spent another 1.5 months. So now, by this time, if you look at here, from here to here, we have already spent 4.5 months. And by the end of 4.5 months, what we have got is an unverified system, which is never been tested or for the quality purposes. The next phase is basically, this unverified system will go through verification. So the testers will start testing this unverified system, and then it will take another 1.5 month. And by the end of this validation phase, we'll release a product to the customer. So it will take around 6 months for one single cycle, uh, to from requirement to actually delivering a verified system. It will take 6 months before the customer actually sees what is actually developed, and what is before actually the product reaches the customer. So that's what used to happen in Waterfall. But in Agile, so what happens is, all these four phases: requirement, design, implementation, verification, all these are done in a shorter cycle, which is usually 1 month or less. So for sake of this example, this is 1 month cycle. So within 1 month, all these four steps will be done. So you'll do requirement, design, implementation, verification, all of this in a 1 month or less cycle, which is 4 week or less cycle. And by the end of this cycle, you will have a small product, which will be which we can deliver to the customer, and customer can actually use it and provide feedback to us. So that's the key difference. Now, each of this, let's say this one is cycle number one, this is two, three. So after you have done this cycle, immediately you start the second cycle, and whatever you have learned from here, whether it's from customer feedback or the process you were using, while you use that process, you would have learned that these are some of the wrong practices we are following. Let's fix these practices. So you take that feedback and basically implement that with along with new features in second cycle. And again, in the second cycle, you will do these four steps: requirement design, implementation, verification, all these four in the second cycle again. And then you, by the end of second cycle, which is now 2 months, by the end of 2 months, here the 2 months will end, you will have another increment of the product. So now you have a bigger product. So this is how the product looked after the first iteration was over. This is how the product looked after second iteration was over. Now I have a question for you. Like by the end of by the end of let's say this is 4.5 months, how many product increment we would have delivered in Waterfall? Can someone answer that? And how many would have delivered in Agile? Anyone want to volunteer that by the end of 4.5 months from here to here, how many product increment we would have delivered? Rajesh, Rajendra have answered it, but I want someone to answer it on voice, if that's okay.
It's four.
Four in Agile.
Yeah, yeah.
And how many in Waterfall?
None.
Waterfall not at, because
Yes,
it's 6 months, no.
great. So in if you look at it, by this point, we have delivered one, two, three, four. Four product increment in Agile. But in Waterfall, what we have delivered is documents after documents and then unverified system. So we have delivered something which is not usable to customer. So customer have never seen our product, right? So how many, my next question is how many feedback cycle has gone through by end of 4.5 month in Waterfall and in Agile. So how many feedback
Same.
cycles, full feedback cycle we have gone through in Waterfall and then in Agile?
Answer would be same.
Zero, three.
Agile 4 cycles and waterfall none.
Why?
How come? But
Why it
because
is
we
not?
haven't delivered anything of
What
feedback.
about this? We have delivered these document. Is this not a feedback cycle? So we have delivered this requirement document by end of this. Is this not a feedback cycle?
We, as in, it can be considered feedback, but not feedback on the delivered system or the product.
Yes. So when we are talking about feedback, we are talking about feedback from the customer. So basically, by the end of 4.5 month in Waterfall, the customer have never seen the product, and we have never because their customer have never seen or used the product, so they have never provided us any feedback, right? But whereas if you look at incremental delivery, by the end of first month we have delivered one increment to customer, and the customer have now seen the product, used the product, and now they would have provided us a feedback which we can use to apply to our next iteration, so we can make the product better. Let's say you are building a skating board and you deliver the skating board here, and after that the skating board color was let's say red, and the customer started using it, and then they are telling that we don't like the product. And when you ask them why, they tell you that the color is red. So then you say that if you don't like red, what color do you like? They tell you blue. So now you know that the customer want blue color, so you fix that in your next iteration. So you basically change the color of your product to blue in the next iteration. Also you add other features as well. So that way basically we are getting four feedback cycle. We are going through four big feedback cycle in 4.5 month in case of Agile, because this is one cycle, this is second, this third, fourth. So we have gone through these four cycle in Agile, four feedback cycle. And what it does is it reduce the amount of risk we are going through significantly, because in Waterfall we are blindsided. We don't know what, like whatever we are building, is it really required by the customer, or this is our fancy. Like we being product managers or product director, we might think that this is what actually going to this is what actually going to be used by the customer. But what if whatever you are thinking, you are investing millions and millions of pound and 6 months 8 months of your time, by the time you actually deliver that product to a market, customer don't like it at all, because you made a wrong hypothesis that customer are going to like this particular product. But that risk is reduced significantly in agile, because you can deliver a MVP by the end of 1 month, and you can have multiple feedback cycles through which you can learn what is actually going to work and not work. So that's the idea I wanted to convey in this slide.